You know what they say, never use copyrighted music. Well, I didn't think I had, but it turns out every video that's been released to this Build a Nation series is now copyright claimed. A little bit annoying, but luckily for you, we still have the new created intro music, which I made in the last episode. This is just an intro, you better believe it. Jesus, that was bad. Yep, welcome to the series. So welcome to today's episode. My name is Paul, also known as the Northman if you are new here, and thank you for joining me. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, some of the intros from the previous episodes will be muted best I can, but some of them I just couldn't adjust or won't let me adjust them. So that's been a bit of a kick in the teeth. So if you do enjoy the content, linked below is the option of Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee if you do want to become a monthly supporter, because YouTube has just completely ate all of my income from January. So thank you for that, YouTube. Very much appreciated. I didn't want to buy a new microphone or camera anyway. So going on to a new season, and in this episode you will see we have spent more money now than we have ever spent going into a new season. Now, in the last episode, you saw that we qualified for the Champions League for the first time, and this season could be very, very interesting. Also, if I can get my camera lined up. There we go. So, first off, the board came to me this time and asked if I would like my youth facilities upgraded, and I thought, you know what? Yes, because a week before that, you said no to me. So I said yes, and it turned out it was going to cost £4.9 million. Kind of wish I said no at that point, but whatever. So we are in the process of improving our training and youth facilities again. So with the training facilities done in 3 weeks, the youth facilities done in 3 months, currently we have 4-star training facilities with a 16 rating, 12 rating for youth facilities, which is 3 stars, so that will massively jump up. I do want to try to improve youth recruitment and junior coaching this year, and they have been rejecting that kind of thing in the past. In fact, we can ask now, can't we, to make sure I don't forget. So increase junior coaching budget, please. And also it was improve youth recruitment. So them two have been asked now. So today's the first game of the season we're going to get into. But first off, we've got transfers and youth intake. Now, youth intake recently has been shocking. It's been that good today. I think we might start with that. I think we might start with youth intake. So, Development Centre, you can see we've got a lot of players suggested here, but under 19s. Let's put on age-wise. So you can see these are the players. So we've got Svendmark here, who I want to look at, and Christensen, who I want to look at as well. I think that was it of the two I got really excited about. So first off is Clint Arne Klepper Christensen, who has attributes in all the right areas. He can cross, dribble, decent first touch, he's got good passing, good technique, good off the ball, good pace, acceleration. As a winger, he has a lot of potential. I really do think he has a lot of potential. So this is the first one that came through, really pleased with him. I think he was from Stavanger, yeah. And the next one I think came through from Ålgård, which is a town about 40 minutes away. So Svendmark is the one we're going to look at. And wow, I mean, ignore the fact that as always when you do an episode, all of the arrows are going down. But if we can ignore that, he's 15 years old and looks very, very good. I think a season or two in our youth team, and he's only going to dramatically get better. We have some good coaches down there. We have a good setup in the under-18s, and I think he could be a winner. But let's move on to the transfers. You can see, in terms of ins, nothing is happening. But in the summer, we are going to lose a couple of players. 2 of our defenders. So Moen, at the age of 23, is going to go. And Helland is going to go as well. Which, I know what you're thinking. He was one of the regulars last year. But hear me out. I decided to sell him. That's it. I say hear me out. That's all I've got. But let's have a look at the transfers in. So the first player to look at coming in from odds for 210k is Gay Shelseth, and he looks decent. He's 6'3". He's only 17 years old, so he's going to play in our under-19s at the minute. But he is coming in with the idea of replacing Moan long term. So Moan was 23 now. He just had a long-term injury for the whole season, and I couldn't see him getting any better at all. Where this kid, I actually do think there's a bit of potential there. So for 210k, I thought it was worth the punt. Now this player popped up in my scouting, and wow. I was very, very excited when I saw him pop up. The only player they found in Europe under the age of 18 who was decent. So we paid 250k for him from Vesprem in Hungary. And he's good. He's in our first team this season as one of our backups. And he is a very good central defender. Physically is where he gets let down. But he's only 18, so that should improve. But for 250k, I think it's a good bit of business. Next is Oscar Mancilla, who comes in from Independiente Santa Fe for 1.4 million. A 19-year-old Colombian, just turned 19 as well, so it's going to be 19 throughout this whole season. And when you look at his dribbling, finishing, first touch, when you look at his heading as well, his passing, composure's okay, decisions is okay. We are working on his attacking movement at the minute. Physically decent as well. I think it's an absolute stellar signing. Really, really pleased with this. I said I wanted more depth in the striker position, and this guy definitely offers that. So next player coming in is 19-year-old Gunnar Sunder. He comes in from Rosenborg. He's 6'3". He has really decent attributes. Again, loads of down arrows. I don't understand why that happens when I'm recording. Very frustrating, but very decent player. I think 450k total. I think it worked out. We paid 250, 300 up front, and the rest is in installments if he plays like 50 games for us. Because at that point, he has justified the extra. But I think he's a decent player, and age only 19, he's only going to get better. So next player, someone who we picked up about 6 months ago on a pre-contract, is Balder Gunnarsson. He's an Icelandic central defender, and his contract was running out, so I decided to actually negotiate early because I think it was AC Milan and I think it was Southampton were in for him. We ended up picking him up for £1,000, rising to 16.75 depending on how well he performs. But coming in to play in our B team for now, I think it was a no-brainer for that money. For that money, I think this was a no-brainer of a signing. And the final sign is our biggest transfer ever. Picked up for £3 million from Molde. He is a Finnish international with 9 caps, also Bosnian. It is Nihad Basic. And as a right back, we've been relying on Fanny. And whilst it's nice having that homegrown player at right back, I felt like we had to maybe look at taking that next step. And aged only 18 years old, this kid is going to really, really develop. And I think it's a fantastic pickup. And at 6 foot, he's not a short right back either. Really pleased with this signing. Like, really, really pleased with it. He does have a high value as well, up to 4.5 million. So we can potentially recoup the money if he didn't perform well. He's wanted on loan by AIK, but no chance. Breakthrough prospect contract just to calm down the expectations from him, but he is going to be first choice, no question about it. But that rounds up the ones who came on last year's list. So we ended up spending 7 million during the 2030 season, recouping 3.2 million with 2 players going out at the end of the season after the episodes were done. So Jabba went to Tromsø, who was a player we brought in a couple of years ago who never really developed, and also Ofsten, who came through our academy, who I didn't rate that much, has ended up going off to Calgary. So I hope that doesn't bite me in the backside, but he is only 5'11". I don't think I would have ever used him in central defence. But we have a couple of more signings who pop up in the actual pre-season list. Now, I know what you're thinking, because I was thinking the exact same thing at this point. We've signed a bit too many defenders. But coming in again to play in our under-19s is a 17-year-old Serbian player called Alexander Kosic. And I think he's a really, really good player. 6'4" as well. We paid 250k for him. It's again a player who I think, if he doesn't develop too well, we can recoup money on. I think it's a top signing, to be honest, for that money. And finally, wow, this guy looks really, really good. Mamadou Soumaré. Now, you know when you enter the deadline day and you decide to participate in deadline day, and you get agent offers when the agents are just trying to test the waters to see if a player can find a new club. This guy popped up, an 18-year-old Senegal player called Mamadou Soumaré, who doesn't really look like a Mohamedou, but you never know. Wow. So we've got him, and we've got the Colombian striker. And we've got Soto as well, who can play a striker. I think when you look at that, we've dramatically, and I mean dramatically, improved our strike force going into the 2031 season. And for $500,000, I think that was a deal well worth done. So in the last 12 months, we've spent $7.75 million. The most we've ever spent. We've had a record transfer this winter. We've spent big. Still on youth. We're still developing that young squad who can always develop, always get better, always improve. But I think we've took a punt with the amount of money we've spent. We have recouped a little bit, $250,000. So a goalkeeper we picked up on a free transfer. I think it was a free transfer. It was a free transfer. We picked him up a year ago. He's played for our B team in Philip Sulzbacher. We've ended up selling him for rising $500,000 to Rosenborg. I decided to do it because it's a club in our country who actually wanted to buy one of my players, which doesn't happen often. So more than happy to let him go. Seth has gone on loan to our feeder club. Steinskog wanted to leave us, unfortunately, so even though he's been with the club since 2018, he's now gone to play in Iceland for FH. Idris has gone to Djurgårdens. Now, we signed a lot of defenders. He was age 21 now, hadn't really developed too much. We picked him up on a free. We had a couple of years with him. He never developed enough to earn a value, so he's sold for just under $100,000. We wish him luck. And then Fiskerstrand also, who was in and out of the first team in the last few years. We've ended up letting him go out on loan now to Gjøvik Lyn as well, so we wish him well. But Helland I've let go because I'm looking at playing Christian the Finn in defensive mid in games where we're dominating. So we now have the 4-5-1. We have a 4-5-1 defensive, and then we also have a 4-2-3-1, which we're going to look at using in the more games where we know we're going to dominate. So if we have a home game against a weaker side, I think this 4-2-3-1 could be very useful. The Finn would drop in here in the box to... No, Knapskog in the box to box. Christian the Finn's the deep line playmaker, and Soto in behind the striker. I think probably in this type of formation I would just play a poacher. But we've worked on them 3 tactics during pre-season, and I think it's going to work well. I'm not confident enough to use this 4-2-3-1 from the start of matches, but long term I think it could be a good tactic. So financially you can see we are negative $6 million this season, and we've made profit every season for the last few years now. So it's a bit concerning to be negative $6 million, but I've took that punt just because I know we've got some Champions League money coming in no matter what. Even if we got in the first qualifying round, you get about $1 million from the TV side of things, etc. Then we go into the Europa League, we will get money from that. Then we go into the Conference League if we went out of that. So I know we can recoup that money. Normally I don't like taking that type of risk, but I've took it for you guys. I've took that risk for you guys. So the opening game of the season is against Vålerenga at home, so we could have gone with the more offensive tactic, but I just don't want to take that risk yet. So I'm looking at the squad, looking at the people on the team list and the bench, and I think this is our team we're going to go with for this opening game. So it's going to be Hansen in goal. I just think Hansen could be such a good keeper, by the way. He's only 24 now. You should look to pick him up in your saves. He's obviously a real player. Only 17 when you start the game. Wow. Hansen in goal, Basic at right back, Jørgensen, Holten and Skallen, Christian the Finn, Knapskog, Sotte, Urshal, Apaya and Mansilla is going to start up top. On the bench we have Lunin, who has signed a new 6-year contract as a backup. Moen on the bench, Bastions, Larson, Legard, Fanny, Anderson, Lorenz, and Sommer, the young striker as well. So potentially 2 debuts up top in today's game. Another thing to point out, Christian Slaveland is still at the club, but his contract has run out at age 33 now, because he only wanted to be a squad player. And I wanted to get him as an emergency backup because he was going to be in our B team. But he just wouldn't accept that contract. But he's still at the club on a non-contract at the minute. But that does mean we have a new captain. So I've ended up going with Jonas Jurgensen, who is an academy player, been at the club since 2023. The season I started, real player. So age 24 now, he is the captain of Egerton. And the vice captain, I think I went with Larson. Let me just double check that. No, I went with Knapskog. That was it. So the vice captain now is Christian Knapskog. He did obviously go off to Sassuolo to see if he could make it at that club. But no, he's back with us now. And yeah, captain, vice captain, and a good one at that. So let's get into today's game anyway. Let's see what we can do. Sommer can be number 14, I think we'll go with. Make sure I drink my coffee before it goes cold. Okay, pump fists. Go out there and give the fans some money's worth. I am concerned because I did have over 11 million in the bank, and my process was we need money in the bank to get a new stadium, because we are selling out this stadium quite a lot. Now you can see in this corner here, we've sold out the stadium again for this opening day. But the board just seems so reluctant to give us a new stadium at the minute. The opening day, and Urshal has picked up an injury again. This guy picks up so many injuries, it's just ridiculous. So Lorenz is going to come in on the right wing, our young player we picked up from Viking Stavanger last season. See if he can do a bit better this year. I am hoping. We didn't pick up many assists and goals really from the front three last season, but I'm hoping when we've got a better actual striker, we're going to score more goals this season, I hope. And then that would in turn mean that we get more assists from the wide men. So that's the hope, is our new strikers will bang in the goals in this division and make all of the stats of the front players look better. Come on, nothing's happening. We're nearly at the half time. Nothing's happening. I wonder if in the second half we go to our 4-2-3-1 and just push Sot a little bit further forward. Pump fists. I think we will. Let's go to this tactic. So Sot is going to be in there. And Knapskog's box to box. Christian the Finnish deep line playmaker. Mansilla now as a poacher. Now Mansilla, a bit frustrating. He kept going with Colombia's under-20s in pre-season, so never had a full pre-season with us. And obviously, the other new signing from Senegal, who I can't remember his exact name. We only signed him 6 days ago. Give me a break. He's only been here 6 days, so I didn't want to start him. Right, Apaya now. Can we counter? Ball over the top? No, we can't. Okay. Didn't want to do it anyway. Let's just demand more, can we? Now, last season, we only lost 4 games all season. I would like to see us have such a solid defensive record this season, if we can. Lorenz, ball across. Mansilla puts it wide. Right, we're coming up to the hour. I think we might actually look at making a change after this corner and bring on our other striker. Mansilla's had the hour. Apaya. Christian the Finn over the bar. Okay, so I think Mansilla's going to come off for Samare up top. And I'm just looking to see, is there anything... Christian the Finn really struggling. Has he had a knock or... That's a bit of a worry. That is a bit of a worry. I think we're going to have to go and bring on someone like Larson, but then it's going to have to be a central midfielder and defend. He can't be a playmaker. He's decent, he's a good workhorse, been with us since the start of the save, but he's not my deep line playmaker in the team. Right, Lorenz puts it in. Do we win it? Oh, Holton, our 6'5" defender, Holton. It was between Helland and Holton who I was going to move on in the summer. We have so many young defenders coming through who I picked up that I thought, you know what, it's time to move one of them on. We can take that risk of letting one of them go. But But Holton being able to play fullback as well just meant that he would be more valuable to hold on to. Scallon puts it across. Has he done it? Has Samare got a goal on his debut? I think he has. It's not going to VAR. Egerson 1, Valerenga 0. On his debut, we pick up the goal. Okay, well, let's go to the more defensive tactics. So Sorte can swap with... do we play Knapskog defensive or last? And I think we'll go with Knapskog defensive, I think. Yeah, let's go with that. Come on. We're 1-0 up. This is the situation for this tactic to just see games out. Good tackle by Lorenz there. Well done. Come on. We are just going to give the encourage shout. Now, I know some people don't like us going to this defensive tactic, but we've looked really solid in the last 12 months when we are switching up the tactics depending on the situation. Bastian's coming on defensive mid instead of Knapskog. He's an actual defensive midfielder where Knapskog isn't. Right, come on. Can we just see out this game? Just focus, please. You've got 5 minutes of added time, and then we are going to secure an opening day 3 points in front of a sell-out crowd with a goal for Mamadou Samare. I'm going to have to remember it. Just sit on the sofa laid next to the wife, just repeating the name of him. But we've done it. Opening day victory in front of a sell-out crowd. Samare scores on his debut. Things don't get better than that. Now, one thing I did wonder is, how are we looking compared to other teams in the division now? So, in terms of salary per annum, we're still the second lowest. Mulder is spending 20.15 million a season. We are spending 2.59. That's just crazy. In terms of net spend, though, we are the second highest. We spent 2.6, but we have qualified for the Champions League. So, positives. But that is it for today's episode. The next episode will be recapping the coefficients and going into a lot more detail on that. That will be each season now. There'll be an episode looking at all the coefficients, etc. So hopefully you will enjoy that. I've been Paul, also known as the Northman, and I'll see you next time.